to the Class Breakfast News. The news is live on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, Ho FM 92.5 in the Volta region, Nagman FM 102.5 in Tamale, Radio Wa 92.1 in the Upper West region, Radio Power 96 in Spain. Around the world, join us on classfmonline.com. Coming up in this bulletin, government unveils comprehensive compensation package for the families of 8 gallant men who died in last year's military helicopter crash.
Compensation packages have been processed for the families of our fallen military personnel. Government formally hands over these compensation packages to the respective family.
The Attorney General files an urgent application at the Court of Appeal seeking to suspend the acquittal of the former Maslock CEO pending a planned appeal at the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the New Patriotic Party says Sedina Matiunu's acquittal could undermine investor confidence in Ghana's justice system. Also coming up in this bulletin, a government expert backs 5-year presidential and parliamentary term.
If it goes to 5 years, then we will have a situation where every government or president will have at least 3 years of active governance and not politicking. I think the 5 years will bring some form of change.
These plus many other stories, including African news, coming your way shortly.
This is the Class Breakfast News.
I am Elizabeth Aidoo and you're welcome to Class 91.3 FM. Let's settle for the details of the news. A nationwide blood donation exercise, memorial lecture and interfaith service are headlining activities to mark 1 year since the military helicopter crash that claimed the lives of 8 national figures. The commemorative program began yesterday, Thursday, July 30, with the presentation of a government compensation package to families of the victims at the Jubilee House. Activities will continue with the Dr. Edward Omaneboama Memorial Lecture on Tuesday, August 4, and a National Interfaith Memorial Service and the unveiling of a memorial cenotaph on Thursday that will be August 6 before ending with the nationwide service to soul blood donation drive on Saturday, August 7. At the launch of the commemorative program yesterday, President Mahama announced a comprehensive support package for the bereaved family. It includes a national health insurance premium plan card providing annual health care benefits, a 1 million Ghana cedis trust fund for each of the 30 minor children, 1 million fixed deposit account for 6 adult beneficiaries, and a 10 million Ghana cedis children support fund to safeguard the education and welfare of the victims' children.
On the 6th of July, the Accra Circuit Court, acting under the Workmen's Compensation Act 1963, Act 174, awarded a total compensation package of 13,872,962.40 pesos to the dependents of our 4 civilian officials who lost their lives in the tragedy. Similarly, in accordance with the Armed Forces Regulation 1992, LI 1546, compensation packages have been processed for the families of our fallen military personnel. Today, government formally hands over these compensation packages to the respective family. Our responsibility extends beyond financial compensation. Every affected family has been enrolled onto the premier plan of nationwide medical insurance. The company's highest level of health care coverage has been awarded to these families. This package provides an annual health care value of 3 million cedis across all dependents and grants access to 942 accredited healthcare providers throughout Ghana. Each family will receive a unique identification card today, and it was in the boxes that we're giving to you, which will provide seamless access to this healthcare support whenever it's needed. Recognizing that education is the greatest investment we can make into the future of, and that conviction has led to the establishment of the Children's Support Fund. The fund is not an act of charity, it is a solemn national obligation to our fallen heroes.
That's President John Dramani Mahama. Hours after the Court of Appeal acquitted and discharged former Maslock Chief Executive Sedina Temako Atiunu, the Attorney General filed an urgent application seeking to suspend the ruling pending an appeal at the Supreme Court. The application filed on Thursday, July 30, asked the Court of Appeal to stay execution of its judgment until the state's intended appeal is determined. The Attorney General argues that allowing the acquittal to take immediate effect could render the appeal ineffective and result in a miscarriage of justice. Meanwhile, the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Richard Anyagba, says the ruling could affect public confidence in Ghana's justice system and send the wrong signal to investors.
I'm sure my position, not different from your position, is that it is hard for justice delivery system. Confidence undermining. It sets a standard in our country that is some people are more equal before the law than others. Obviously, the NDC people are less equal. They're somewhat above the law, and that when they break the rule and they are found guilty, when their daddy comes to power, then he will extricate all of them from accountability. This is what is happening, and it is not good for our country. This one, we will not say we have to be quiet and then change the government in 2028. We have to speak about it because all confidence in our judicial system is being sacrificed on the altar of freedom and avoidance of accountability. The implication of that is massive in terms of international confidence in our legal system, which is the investment arriving in our country. They think that our justice system is manipulable, is one that can be controlled and guided by certain people the way they want, and that has implications for the jobs that we're seeking for our young people. So it is not just an isolated political matter. It is a social, political, economic issue that we must confront.
That's the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Richard Anyagba. The governance expert, Dr. Richard Fiadumo, has backed the government's proposal to extend the tenure of future presidents and members of parliament from 4 years to 5 years, subject to a national referendum. Speaking on 505 yesterday, Dr. Fiadumo said a 5-year term would give government enough time to implement policies and deliver on their mandate before returning to the electorate.
Government has demonstrated that the will of the people should hold sway because the Constitutional Review Commission went across the country and these were their recommendations, and these recommendations were coming from the good people of this country. So if the government through the white paper has accepted the recommendations, I think that yes, we are happy about government stance on the matter. If you see, particularly when there's a change of government, the first year obviously becomes a transitional year, and the president or the government of the day just has 2 years. Immediately we enter into the 4th year, it becomes a political year instead of a governmental year. So the government also now looks at how to get the vote. The opposition is looking for the vote, the government is also looking for the vote. So everything the government does or is doing is just so to get the vote, especially in the 4th year. So if it goes to 5 years, then we will have a situation where every government or president will have at least 3 years of active governance and not politicking.
On the proposal to cap the number of ministers as 60 and increase parliamentary seats, Dr. Fiadumo said expanding parliament to 300 members is excessive, although he supports greater representation for persons with disability.
Clearly, essentially, John Dramani Mahama has demonstrated that even 58 is what you have today, and governance random. So I think that the 60 is because clearly there are other government appointees who are able to fill in and do not necessarily have to be ministers of state for us to be spending huge sums of money on their welfare and of contest. So if there's going to be a chance or a way to bring about some modicum of equity in terms of the persons who constitute the society, vulnerable people, women, and all those things, then it will go a long way to give a certain hope all shades of people who have interest in this country.
That's governance expert Dr. Richard Fiadumo. Meanwhile, Parliamentary Affairs analyst Clement Akolo has welcomed proposals to increase the representation of women and persons with disability in Parliament, but questioned the recommendations for such members to be appointed by the President.
I think that it's a welcoming news in the sense that there are certain sectors of our society that have not been really represented in Parliament, being underrepresented in Parliament. Talking about women, people of disability and all that. We must find a way to fit them in. Some of us have been on record to have even made a proposal that the rest of the 24 that was going to make 300. We didn't even know that at that point in time we were even going to move it to 300, saying that looking forward and seeing how our nation goes forward and how constituencies are created, we should cap it at a point in time at 300, and then the rest of the 24 will find a way to fit underrepresented members into it. I think it's a welcoming news. But the bit about the appointment, where it will have to come from the president, is where it's a bit tricky for some of us. We thought that it would have been open to normal elections. So that's where we differ a bit.
That's Parliamentary Affairs Analyst Clement Akolo. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity and fintech will take center stage at this year's National ICT Week as Ghana pushes to strengthen its digital economy. The National Information Technology Agency, NITA, at the launch of the 2026 celebration says the event will bring together government, industry, academia, investors and innovators to accelerate digital transformation. The Acting Director General of NITA, Yao Amwa said Ghana cannot afford to be left behind in the global race to leverage emerging technologies for economic growth. The 2026 National ICT Week will be held from August 17 to 20 under the theme Innovation at Scale, Creating Opportunities Across Ghana's Digital Ecosystem.
Today is the launch of a national movement. A movement, one of Africa's leading digital economies. Around the world, countries are racing to harness artificial intelligence, digital infrastructure, cybersecurity, fintech, and emerging technologies. The nations that move fastest are creating wealth, attracting investors, and preparing their citizens for the future. Ghana cannot afford to watch from the sidelines. Ghana must lead, as we always do. This is why this year's National ICT Week is held under the theme Innovation at Scale, Creating Opportunities Across Ghana's Digital Ecosystem. This theme challenges us to think bigger.
That's the Acting Director General of NITA, Yao Amwa. Questions are being raised over the number of candidates who failed to sit this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination (BEC), despite registering, with educationists Divine calling for investigations into the trend and renewed effort to tackle examination malpractice. Speaking to Class News, Divine said the higher number of absentees candidates should be a major concern for education authorities and must be thoroughly investigated. He also expressed concerns over the examination irregularities, stressing the need for stronger measures to protect the integrity of BEC.
We can also tell how the performance is with this year compared to other previous years, because that will be a normal in terms of comparison. So for me, the most interesting thing about it is about the number of subject results held and also the absential in terms of those who couldn't present themselves to write the BEC. This year we saw about 3.4 thousand learners that were not able to sit for a BEC. And over the years, we have actually not gathered data on why students register but they do not write in the papers. It is one of the shortfalls within the system that we have not been able to avert our mind to. So for me, it is high time that we begin to take interest to understand why learners, because the number keeps increasing, why learners will register but not turn out to write the BEC. Several factors could account for that.
He also indicated that corporal punishment should only be considered after all other forms of disciplining a child have been exhausted. He warned that some teachers could misuse it and call for broader discussions before any decision is taken on that issue.
I think the conference gives us the opportunity to have a terms of some learners, of course, even drop out of school because of issues of corporal punishment, and you could see the extent to which some teachers could abuse the cane, leaving mark on the learners. So, as a developing country, we need to be very skeptical. We advocate highly for introduction of corporal punishment.
That's educationist Divine. Now to some African news, The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa is set to close at the end of 2027 academic year, with the campus to be handed over to local education authorities. The school, launched by the US talk show host nearly 20 years ago, has produced more than 1,000 graduates, mainly from underprivileged backgrounds, students who will not have be able to complete their studies by the time the academy closes will be offered full scholarship at other institutions. The school, which was established after Winfrey's meeting with former South African's President Nelson Mandela in 2002, was built at a cost of about $40 million US. We'll bring you more details on this story. Now, this is the Class Breakfast News Radio on Class 91.3 FM. For more news and update, do log on to classfmonline.com. The morning show continues with Charles Akrofi. Do stay and enjoy the rest of our programs. I am Elizabeth Aidoo. Have a good morning.
Class 91.3 FM.
This is the Class Breakfast News.
Class News is expanding its frontiers as it can now be heard live on Dagbon.